YouTube, what the crap is going on? So I've been getting some interesting input. I saw in that last video, there's like a ton of people putting the thumbs up on a comment saying, hey, I'm going to be new to Shogun 2, give me some tips. Because, I understand that people are going to have veteran armies and veteran avatars, and I don't want to get killed. Well, I am here to give you some tips. This series will be you getting to watch Heir struggle on a journey that would resemble what it's going to look like for a player who is new to Shogun 2. Now, of course, I've played the game a lot, which is still going to give me somewhat of an advantage, but I'll give you what tips I can. Let's get started from the screen here. This is what you're going to run into when you start the game for the first time in multiplayer. You got to create an avatar. So I have created a new avatar, and you get to start out by giving him a name. So we're going to name this avatar, we'll call this Patchy's Legacy. How about that? So there we go, and you can choose the head and everything. I don't know how into this you all are, so we'll choose a nice angry looking head. That looks good. You can choose helmets. There's a few that are available to you from the beginning. Some of them are pretty sweet, obviously. Let's give him a nice, let's give him like the warrior monk look here, Iki hood. So, let's see, that's pretty cool, armored sleeve. I'll kind of turn it to the side where you can see kind of it's changing this texture right here. Kind of like that armored sleeve. It's looking pretty good. What kind of horse? We'll go with the masked gray horse. Greaves. This should be his shin guards. So, yep. I like that. That's looking pretty sweet. Some of the stuff he's wearing, it says Ginpei, so that's from the, actually, that's from the Fall of the Samurai, or Rise of the Samurai. So some of these things I have are from the DLC, and we'll talk DLC in a minute. This is the katana sword that he's wearing. Can't really see it good from any of these angles, but let's see. I don't really think it's going to make a difference, but whatever, there we go. Now we can choose his top piece here. Kind of makes him look like a... Oh, no, that's pretty sweet. Iki robe. There we go. We got him in the Iki robe. Let's see, the cuirass. You can't really even see the cuirass, but hey, that's kind of cool, actually, because that stuff comes up on top. That Ginpei stuff, again, that's going to be from the Rise of the Samurai. That's looking pretty cool. I think we'll keep that right there, actually. And then, let's see... Not going to be able to see these too well, I don't think. So I'll just throw whatever we got on there. We'll take a look at it later. He doesn't have a sashimo. We'll see what's available. Oh, sweet, the wings. I don't know if the wings have been fixed, but Patchy used to have wings back in the day. It was kind of a classic. I think I'm going to give him the wings. Let's see, face guard. I don't know if I want a face guard or not, but we'll see if there's something that looks kind of cool. Let's see, I know some of you may be, come on, this isn't strategy. I know it's not part of the strategy, but it's just for fun. Alright, he looks kind of evil in this setup. I like it. Alright, so let's fix his colors. I kind of like the black and white thing that's going on here. Let's see, color scheme, lace colors. I kind of like that going to white there, so we'll pick that. Good enough. So we have a new avatar, and now I want you to pick a sashimo and or shashi. I don't remember what it's called. A mon. Yeah, this goes on the sashimo that your men wear. So let's pick a new mon. There's a bunch here that I haven't seen because I haven't tried to change mine in a long time. So let's find something cool, because of course being cool is the first ticket to victory. Okay, not really, but I'm gonna say that just for the sake of fun here. You know, that one up at the top was pretty stinking sweet, actually. I don't know what that's all about, but I like it. And I'll just leave it on this white and black color just for the sake of simplicity. It looks pretty good as is. And it says pick your starting province, and this is going to determine what your clan's specialty is. So let's take a look at it. Kai, when you start there, you start off with Yari Cav, and it puts your focus on cavalry from the beginning. Really, it kind of just, gives you that. If you start in Satsuma, you start with a Yari drill yard. And if you start in Tosa, you start with an archery dojo, so you're going to start with access to bow samurai. Here you're going to start with access to Yari samurai. And if you start in Iwate, you're going to have a focus on swords, so you'll start with katana samurai. I'm trying to think what would be the most useful. In the beginning, I liked starting off with Yari Cav, but that was a different game back then. And also, well, I'll explain why I don't pick Yari Cav. Bows are tempting, but they've been nerfed back a little bit too. However, starting with bow samurai certainly wouldn't be something that would upset me, and I'm definitely considering it. Swords I'm not too worried about because I can probably get a hold of katana samurai relatively quick. I am actually going to start with the in Tosa, where it gives me access to bow samurai, and you know, we'll find out whether or not that was a good choice. That's all part of the episode. So here we are. We've got everything created. Here's your skills trees. I have no points to spend in the skill tree though, so I cannot choose any of these masteries as of yet. And I'm not sure which one I'm going to choose. We'll kind of figure out as we go. So here's your challenge, and here's my very first recommendation that I'll give you. Now that we're done with kind of the looks of things, and we've got Apache's Legacy looking good here, we're going to discuss your first moves. Now my first suggestion is make sure you bought the DLC, because my tactics here are going to be based on the fact that you should have bought the DLC. Now some of you may be like, Heir, I don't have money for that. Man, it's annoying. I can't believe they make you buy DLC units. You don't have to, but it is a heck of a lot easier if you do. So I recommend that you do. And maybe I'll do a couple of battles without DLC units, but here's the thing that's going to be nice for me. Now starting off, this is all I would have access to, is the crappy units, well, as mostly the crappy units you see here, except for a couple of distinct exceptions. I got access to Naginata Monk Cav right off the bat. That is a huge benefit. I've got access to Naginata Attendants and Sword Attendants, which is a huge benefit. And a few other units that are going to be a big help to me. Foot Samurai you'd have access to, which are not a hugely, you know, beneficial unit. But then if you go in here into your veterans, look, I've already got 23 of 26 veteran slots taken, which is kind of good, kind of bad. It means that I don't have much room for more veterans, but I've got all these units to work with. Fire Cav is particularly helpful. There's a bunch of other ones, you know, mounted gunners that could be useful. I'm not going to use them. These Portuguese Terços would be useful. I should have access to, well, no, you got to unlock Matchlock Monks. Darn. I thought you might start out with access to Matchlock Monks too. Yeah. You don't. If you did, though, that would be pretty sweet. In any case, like I said, this is my recommendation. That's my recommendation. Why? Wako Raiders, units like that, and Long Yari Ashigaru, those are also going to be key. And there's a few other units that are going to be helpful here. So what should your army look like whenever you're brand new to the game? Well, let's take a look at what's available to us. We've got Sword Attendants and Lone Sword. And I got Bow Samurai. We have $5,000 to build our army with because it's in small funds. Right now our general is of no cost. So what we want to do is really maximize the effectiveness of our army, not spend too much money on any one given category, and make sure that we have a little bit of unit diversity in order to best fend off enemy. So I picked just a couple of Bow Samurai. Don't go too heavy on bows when you're starting the games because they're not going to have a whole lot of effect at the lower levels. However, if my opponent brings Matchlock or Mounted Gunners, that's going to be my way to fight back. Let's go ahead and start picking some sword units. I know I'm going to want some sword units, so I'm going to get some lone swords. And if you look, sword attendants are almost the same thing as lone swords, except their morale is actually just slightly better. Their attack is slightly lower, and their melee defense is lower. Their armor is a little higher, and they have a better charge bonus. So you can kind of choose what you want there. I mean, sword attendants really aren't good for much except for a charge and flanking, and they're also dirt cheap. So that's the two things they're good at. I'm definitely going to come out with some Yari Ashigaru. These guys are good at fending off cav and slowing down an enemy charge. And it looks like I've got a little bit of money left. I kind of think I've chosen just a little bit too much money's worth of Yari Ashigaru here. Let's see if I can get... I've got one unit of Warrior Monk cav. Boy, you don't get much money here. And I'm going to have to make good use of those Bow Samurai. Two of those may be too much money spent on that kind of thing. It's been a long time since I played these battles, so we'll just play one and see how it goes. I'm going to actually break up two of those lone swords and see if I can get a couple of sword attendants. And then these Yari Ashigaru. I might actually trade the Yari Ashigaru for Nagi attendants, because they're a little cheaper. I can get more of them for less money. Now I can pick up another Monk Cav. That army's still pretty crappy. I don't think I want two Monk Cav. I think I'll just go with one Monk Cav. I could use Light Cav here, but I'm going to go with one Monk Cav. Golly, yeah, you surely... I'm definitely not used to this. We start off with a lot fewer units. I'm going to tank up on Sword Attendants, actually. Having more units to help me overwhelm the enemy, I think, is going to be most helpful here. We'll see what happens. So me being able to bring 14 units to this battle is quite a bit. but you keep in mind my general's not going to have any perks or any bonuses. Let's go ahead and play our first match. I'm going to record it live, but I'm not actually going to, and I might change my army a little bit depending on what I get. You're going to want to uncheck mixed avatars. I don't recommend starting a traditional avatar and fighting against Fall of the Samurai avatars. Anyway, yeah, I'll record it live and I'll show you the footage with my commentary, even though I won't be commentating while it's live because I want to do my best on the fighting. One other thing I actually forgot to explain to y'all is on the Avatar Conquest map, make sure you use this to try and selectively get to the units that you're going to want soon. I want to unlock Yari Samurai and I want to unlock Katana Samurai. Well, Katana Samurai is my main focus, but I'm going to start, because this is a province that I can start in right here because you start out owning this province in Tosa, the naval area, sorry, and I'm going to start here in Satsuma, unlock the drill yard, and then on the very next move I'll move for into Higo and try and get the sword school. And then from there, I can move up here and try and unlock the I guess, stables or whatever. It also will give me access to trying to get my matchlocks going and siege equipment, boats, all that other kind of stuff. If I capture Bungo and Hizen, I will then have access to matchlock Ashigaru. So let's go ahead and get started down this path. Right, so this looks like it's going to be my first match. I honestly don't feel real confident going into this. I'm playing against a 9-star. I'm pretty out of touch with this game because I haven't played it a whole lot. But I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts as we're going into the match here. So what's going to be my strategy? This player probably thinks that I'm new. He could tell that I'm not if he goes and looks at my profile down here in the right corner. But chances are if they see a 0-star avatar, they're probably going to assume that you're new or you don't know what you're doing. So use that to your advantage. And so literally, even if you don't know what you're doing, you can kind of use that to your advantage. So what am I going to try and do? I'm going to try and make my deployment look weak. I'm going to try and make my army, look, it is weak. It is weak. I'm going to make it look weak, and I'm going to try and get him to make some moves depending on the army that he's brought that will work to my favor. Now, that's all very dependent because I have to see what he brings. My army is pretty fantastically weak. However, his avatar alone is going to cost over 1,000 koku out of the 5,000 available, and his veteran units are each going to cost almost 1,000 koku. So I'm hoping that my 14 units versus his few can overwhelm him, but I'm still going to have to play that carefully and see how that turns out. So that's kind of my advice going into these battles. I think you definitely want to use numbers initially to mob your enemy out and make yourself look weak, even if you really are. Try and use it to your advantage and lure them into a position where you can get them surrounded or take them out. So we'll wait until he's ready, and then I'll come back and I'll kind of show you initially a little bit of the layout. Like I said, I don't want to record the entire, I don't want to commentate the whole time while I'm recording, just because I want to be able to focus on my micromanagement. Alright, this map is a ridge map, and I should have read that, so I'm already not real pleased with the army I chose. I don't have a lot of mobility. I should have gotten more cavalry. And my bows, I should have only brought one bow unit. Already a mistake, so let's see how it plays out when I get on the map. Let's see if I can salvage the situation. I need to see the key buildings and kind of get an idea here on where we should go. So when you're new to the game, don't ignore key buildings. They make a massive difference in the fight, especially if your avatar stinks like mine does at this point. If there is like a shrine or something that you can get a hold of, it makes a big difference. Alright, so there is a workshop over here that would increase my melee defense and armor. Not really sure that that's of a big concern to me right now. I'm just going to try and keep my army in formation. My guys are going to have pretty crappy morale, and I'm going to need all my troops in order to win this fight. I'm going to lead my army with a couple of Nagi attendants. They're just going to kind of protect in case my enemy has like a unit of Katana Cav or something. And behind them, I'm going to follow up with my my Lone Swords and my Wako Raiders, because they're my stronger sword units. And then to back all of them up, I'm going to put some sword attendants. And then in the very back with my general, I'm going to put a couple more Nagi attendants. And then I'm going to hide my monk cav. My army's pretty big, and my opponent might think that all my units are visible. I'm going to try and sneak my monk cav into a good position to help me out. I've got my bow samurai here too. I'm going to put them in the second line, keep them behind my Nagi attendants, try and use them to absorb any enemy arrow fire. If my opponent rushes me, I'll kind of back up into a safer position. Anyway, I'm going to stop the commentating, just record the moves that I'm making. Hope you enjoy it. I bet you all are just saying, Heir, you just told us you were going to shut up. Well, I did shut up. I'm actually recording this commentary after the battle. I'm going to let you watch the battle. I'm not going to ruin it for you, by the way. But I will talk through things that go right and go wrong as this plays. But I am not going to ruin the battle for you, because I want you to at least enjoy the suspense of not knowing whether or not I win or lose. And of course, being a quote-unquote new player, this puts me at a pretty great risk of losing. Right off the bat, I'm just checking out my enemy's units. Good thing to do. I was starting to rush up to the top of the hill, but when I see his units, I choose not to. And the reason for that is that his general has got some extra melee points and stuff added on to him, and he's got a unit of bow cav, and I want to say 1 unit of light cav. So I decided to hold off rushing the ridge. Also, I started moving my monk cav forward there, and you're going to see that it's not hidden anymore, which I didn't recognize. That's bad. So my opponent either didn't see this or just didn't care at the moment, because he's not making any runs towards it. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Just to kind of tell you what it is that I'm doing, I'm going to try and re-hide it real quick, so that's why I put it back into a walk, trying to get it to hide, and just hope that maybe he didn't see it. The army that I have out in the field is pretty big looking and kind of makes it look like I spent all my money. A lot of new players don't have access to great cav anyway, so my opponent's probably not too particularly worried about cavalry. Now, I am in a bit of a funky position. I mean, my opponent's going to get to downhill charge me, but my guys would have gotten exhausted charging up to the top of the hill, so that's why I didn't charge to the top of the hill to meet him there. I don't like the position I'm in, but I think it gives me the best chance at defending. My opponent didn't bring a whole ton of melee infantry, so right now I'm going to focus on his cavalry. He's using his general, who's a bow general, and his bow cav to attack me. I disagree with how close he is to my army with his bow general, though. I think that's a little bit foolish. So you're going to see me targeting his bow general and his bow cav. And right now I'm just going to play his game. I'm very tempted to start moving around a lot and start reacting to his light cav that's moving behind me. I've chosen not to, because I feel like that by not reacting, I'm going to make him feel complacent and make him feel like he's got me here. You know, like I'm not moving, I'm not doing anything. And right, yeah, you can see there I'm just watching them to make sure that he's, you know, not going to catch me by surprise. So I know they're there, and I'm keeping an eye on them on my mini-map. I'm assuming he's going to hide them, which is indeed what he did. He's got some matchlocks coming into range, so you heard me switch my bow targets, and I'm going to move my Nagi attendants forward to try and absorb his matchlock fire. A lot of people won't target their missile units, they'll just let them fire at will. So you can move Nagi attendants in the way to absorb what would otherwise be pretty deadly fire. Yep, there you can see my first volleys of bow fire coming into those matchlock units. Him having chosen matchlock units on this ridge was a mistake, I think. Matchlock units on a ridge map is a risky gambit. And I'm not saying they may not be useful, but it's risky just because the terrain can be challenging. So at this point, I see that my opponent's light cav is charging out. He's in wedge formation, and so obviously he's going to try and wedge his way through my spear units and at my general. That might work with a great guard or really well upgraded fire cav. I feel like it's not going to work. We'll see what happens. So I'm not worried about my general. I leave him in his position because I'm feeling confident. You can see his light cav does make it through there and starts to attack my general from behind, and I take 1 loss. Maybe a couple now. Nothing severe. And his light cav is routed, so I was right. You know, my gamble there paid off. Now my opponent has really lost his mobility, and you saw that I drugged my monk cav out of the woods at an opportune moment like this. My opponent really doesn't have the capability of defending his remaining units that are on the field, and so now I'm going to make him pay the price. So there I catch his bow cav, who are in the Cantabrian circle, or swooping crane, and his bow cav starts to run off, so I'm just going to let them go, and I'm going to go after his matchlocks. And at this point, my opponent is screwed. He has a bow general, but there's no way he's going to have enough ammo to kill my entire army. And for some reason, he split up his melee units. He brought one of them into melee, and so now you can see I have it completely surrounded. I'm able to chase off his general. His general does get away, so I'm just going to pull my monk cav out and save them for later. His general has a bow, which can hurt my monk cav, but it's still better for me to run away at the moment. And right there, my opponent quits. So you can see we actually got a rage quit victory there. My opponent had a fairly strong avatar. He might have been able to pull that out, but you can see there that I used I used just, and it wasn't even really great on my part. Again, I was attempting to make myself look weak. I ran around a little bit. I let my guys stand there. I didn't run for any key buildings just because I wasn't too concerned about either one of them. Kind of made it look like I didn't know what I was doing. Whenever his matchlocks approached, I pummeled them with my bows. I left my bows in tight formation. Everything I could do to kind of make my opponent think that I just didn't know what I was doing. Whenever I pulled my cav out there and kind of hit him from the side, I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall. He didn't have enough infantry. He had chosen his troops poorly. And that, there was a little more plan maybe behind what I did there. Now, this is not going to be the case in every single battle. You will lose battles, and I promise you that I'm going to lose some battles here soon. But there you saw that I was initially able to come out and gain a pretty easy victory against a 9-star general who really, in all reality, had 4 retainers working for him, an avatar who had special skills, and other items that I didn't have access to. So you can see that puts me pretty far ahead. I gained quite a bit of experience there that pushed me all the way up into the next rank. So I now have 2 skill points to add on to Patchy's Legacy. Let's take a look at the summary here. I have a veteran unit of bow samurai. I am going to go ahead and keep this veteran unit. My veterans are pretty limited, but I'll keep the 1 unit of bows. And then as you level up, you should get access to more veteran slots too. Yep, veteran slots unlocked. I unlocked a new armor. I unlocked Yari Samurai, captured a province, added a vet, got 2 clan tokens. So let's take a look at the results of this battle. So you can see that I fielded 1,140 men to his 500. And let's take a look at the unit statistics there. My bow samurai each got quite a few kills for a non-vetted unit. My opponent really used his troops improperly there. He should have never left his general in a bow skirmish or his bow cav. His bow cav are doing okay, but I still don't recommend that's the way you use them. Use them on hit and run. And then it was just easy. None of my infantry did great, but it was easy for me to overwhelm his superior infantry. And my monk cav, again, really didn't do much special. It caused the final blow that made him want to have the rage quit, because you kind of want people to think they're in control, and then once they come closer, start to outmanage them. So again, I don't know if you saw that or not. I let his cavalry get behind me, and let him think that I don't know what's going on. Again, let them get in a position where they think they've got you, and then you'll be better off.